Self-love. We hear those words thrown around everywhere. But what is it exactly? A quick search gives us this result. Self-love, regard for one's own well-being and happiness. Sounds simple and easy, right? It's only natural to take care of oneself. Then, why do so many people struggle with this? Like it or not, we as people live in a society. Unless you move to the middle of nowhere and start growing your own food, your life will be affected by other people. And oftentimes, people believe that they'll be happy by making those around them happy. But what happens when we start shaping our lives to please others? And is it possible to find self love living like this? Today, we will be focusing on two stories: Heaven Official's Blessing and Mononoke. Before we start, I will be discussing some sensitive topics. The characters I will discuss were going through a real tough patch in their lives, so please read this and check if you are alright with this. And also, spoilers. Huge spoilers. You have been warned. First, let's take a look at Heaven Official's Blessing, specifically at Hwa-chang. Hwa-chang's childhood, to put it simply, was horrible. His mother died when he was little, and he was left with his abusive father, who married another woman, and neither of them cared for Hwa-chang. He was often kicked out of the house and forced to find a place to sleep on his own. He didn't even have a name. The closest thing to a name he had was what his mother called him before passing: Hongkonger, meaning Little Red. Hongkonger was born with heterochromia, meaning his eyes are different colors, his right eye being red. For this, he was severely bullied, being called an ugly monster. There was no one who cared for him, and he was angry at everyone around him. At the age of 10, he already planned to end his own life by jumping off a building during the Shangyuan festival, thereby stopping the parade believed to be protecting the kingdom from disaster, and dragging Shenle with him in revenge. That's the first time he saw Shelian. That would mark the beginning of change in his life. He was so captivated by the prince that he forgot all about his plan. However, he still ended up falling down on accident, only for Shelian to catch him. Later, Shelian saved him again after Chirong, Shelian's cousin, put Hongkonger in a bag and dragged him behind the carriage. After that, Shelian brings the wounded Hongkonger with him. However, the same night, evil spirits escape, and it is revealed that Hongkonger was born under the Star of Solitude, destined to bring misfortune and destruction, the kind that evil loves most. Whoever touches him will have misfortune befall them. Whoever gets close will lose their lives. Hearing this, Hongkonger goes into a fit of rage, screaming that is not true. During his outburst, everyone around Hongkonger avoids him as if he was a poisonous snake. Everyone except Shelian. Suddenly, a pair of arms wrapped him around the waist, encircling his small form. A voice came from above his head. "You're not. I know you're not. Don't cry now. I know you're not." Shelian embraced him from behind and reiterated firmly, "It's not you. It's not your fault." During these encounters, Shelian was extremely kind and gentle with Hongkonger. Shelian was the only person in Hongkonger's life to show him this kindness. Then, Shelian ascended to godhood, and Hongkonger became one of his believers. Every day, he would bring a flower to Shelian's shrine and sleep there when his parents kicked him out. Even when starving, he would not touch the offerings left out for the prince. It is at this shrine that the two meet again after 3 years. And Hongkonger says this to Shelian: "I'm suffering. Every day I wish I died. Every day I want to kill off everyone in this world, and then kill myself. I'm living in agony. For what should I live for in this world? What does it mean to live?" And even though it was taboo for a god to directly speak to mortals, Shelian answered, "If you don't know how to live anymore, then live for me. I have no answer to the question you asked. However, if you don't know the meaning of your life, then make me that meaning, and use me as your reason to live." And little Hongkonger took that personally. His entire life became for Shelian. Even after dying, he stayed as a ghost for him. And also, he fell in love with Shelian. Hua devotion to Shelian and his love for him are intertwined. It is impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. He would do anything for Shelian. Here is a quote from the end of the book. Hua said quietly, "Your Highness, I understand your everything. Your courage, your despair, your kindness, your pain, your resentment, your hate, your intelligence, your foolishness. If I could, I would have you use me as your stepping stone, the bridge you take apart after crossing, the corpse bones you need to trample to climb up, the sinner who deserves the butchering of 1,000,000 lives. But I know you wouldn't allow it." That last sentence is what makes this relationship work. Individually, neither Shelian nor Huacheng have any self-love. After the events of Book 4 and his 800 years of wandering alone, Shelian has no regards for his own well-being. If getting hurt means he can resolve a problem, he will do it. If he accidentally gets a curse from touching the wrong object, he will think nothing of it. He is immortal after all. Nothing can kill him, no matter how much it hurts. If anyone questions this, he just laughs it off. And everyone just laughs with him, or more often, at him. Everyone except Huacheng. After finding Shelian after 800 years of separation, he tries his best to help Shelian and to keep him safe. Never to control or limit Shelian's actions, but to support him in his choices. Here is a quote from the end of Blackwater arc. "It wasn't like Huacheng hadn't tried to stop him, but he didn't obstruct Shelian's desires either. He only accompanied him on the trip, protecting him the whole way, even with a plan to break away already prepared. Shelian, having zero regards for his own well-being, makes this a real challenge. Huacheng is left juggling, not opposing Shelian's wishes, yet still keeping him from harm's way. Thanks to Huacheng, Shelian, little by little, starts showing his real feelings to Huacheng and starts taking care of himself. An example of this is when Shelian steps on the needle and thinks nothing of it, but Huacheng insists on taking care of him. Shelian comments that the pain of extracting the needle is nothing compared to what he is used to. He didn't react when he stepped on it after all, but in front of Huacheng, he is not able to hide the pain. At that point, he still doesn't understand why this happens, but the cracks in his everything is fine facade are starting to show. On the other hand, Huacheng doesn't have any self-love either. His self-worth depends on how well he can protect Shelian. But Shelian doesn't allow this way of thinking. When Huacheng turns into a child and needs to be protected by Shelian, he is crushed. This is what he says. "I don't want you to see me in such a helpless form, and I absolutely didn't want you to have to protect me." And this is how Shelian responds. "You've always been the strongest, but you don't need to be strong every waking moment of every day. Just think of this as giving me some face, and let me protect you this once." Both of them, having no self-love individually, find self-love in each other. However, dedicating your life to someone else often leads to a different ending. Mononoke is an anime about... No, not that Mononoke. I love that movie. It traumatized me as a child. I love it. But today, we will be talking about this Mononoke. Mononoke is an anime about a medicine seller and his task of slaying Mononoke. Mononoke are spirits born from grudges and pent-up emotions of people. The medicine seller has to find out the form, truth, and reason of the Mononoke. Only then can he draw his sacred sword and slay the Mononoke. The story we will be focusing on is the Noperabo, or the Faceless Monster in English. At the beginning of the story, we are informed that a woman named Ocha killed her husband and his family and is now awaiting her execution in prison. However, in her cell, she is not alone. The medicine seller is also there. Ocha finds it strange. Why would they put a man and a woman in the same cell? Especially when one of them is on death row. Soon, I'm gonna call him Foxman? Soon, Foxman appears and breaks Ocha out. Later in the story, we find out that Ocha was right in her suspicions, since nothing here is real. The events of this story all happen in one moment in time, in Ocha's mind. I have to be honest with you, I have insufficient knowledge of Japanese culture, so my analysis of the story is purely how I see it. The only thing important to know for this story is that it is portrayed like a play in no theater. In no theater, there are only two actors, and they change their masks to play different characters. You might have already noticed a problem here. I mentioned three characters, when there can only be two. The only two characters in the story are Ocha and the medicine seller. Then who is the Foxman? A lot of people believe that the Foxman is the medicine seller who is trying to help Ocha by putting on display. And they have evidence to back this up. But how I view it is that the Foxman is a part of Ocha herself. You'll soon see why. I'm gonna start this explanation from the end. It will be easier to understand this way. At the end of the story, it is revealed that Ocha is the Mononoke. She didn't kill her husband. The one she killed is herself, her true self, her soul, to be exact. Ocha's entire life revolves around her trying to please her mother. Her mother wants her to marry a wealthy samurai and trains her from a young age to fulfill this role. And Ocha puts on a mask and goes along with this, even though deep inside she doesn't want it. We see that while her body is getting scolded for playing an instrument badly, Ocha herself leaves her body to play with the ball. When Ocha grows up, she marries an old, wealthy samurai who doesn't care about her, and only keeps her around because her mother begged for it, and she can act as a maid and is good in bed. The samurai had a previous wife, but she ended her own life. During the wedding, we see Ocha leaving her body again. That's when she meets the Foxman for the first time. Look closely at the way they move. It is a mirror image. Foxman is something she herself creates. The entire story takes place at the moment when Ocha breaks a bowl and her husband and his family are yelling at her to bring them more sake. That is when she looks at the sky through a window that looks like the bars of a prison cell. During the story, the medicine seller says multiple times that if you think you're trapped, this place becomes a prison. If you wish to stay, it becomes a castle. Ocha sees her life like a prison that she cannot get out of. She truly believes that. So, she becomes trapped. She imagines killing her husband because it helps her endure her life. It is said that this has happened numerous times. And every time it is the Foxman who helps her get rid of her husband and saves her. And every time Ocha has to return. By satisfying her mother, Ocha loses her own face. The medicine seller says that faces of humans are just their facades after all. If I consider this mask as my face, it will become my face so easily. Ocha loses her own face and puts on a mask, and yet her mother is still not satisfied. After the marriage her mother wanted so badly, she starts talking about a baby and how he has to succeed the line. No matter what Ocha does, she can never please her mother. At the very beginning, we see a lot of masks that are congratulating Ocha, and the fox guy says something very interesting. They've been always with you too. You just didn't notice them. They were always watching over you. People tend to forget that they've stumbled on so many people, and they already have so many people around them. Even though Ocha feels alone and trapped, there are people around her. She just hasn't noticed them. I disagree with those who depend on medicine to get better in the first place. It doesn't work if they don't believe in it. During the story, we see a bird. It is unmoving and perched on a branch. At the end of the story, that bird flies away, and Ocha's husband is left yelling for sake at nothing. Only when Ocha truly believes that she isn't trapped does the metaphorical medicine work, and she finally escapes. Both Ocha and Huacheng dedicate their lives to another person. So, where's the difference? The difference is simple. Ocha had to put on a mask to satisfy her mother, while Huacheng didn't. His true self wanted to protect Shelian. He truly believed in Shelian's words, so they became true. Huacheng's love for Shelian is truly unconditional. If Shelian wanted, Huacheng would become a tool for him to use. This unconditional love only works because it is directed at someone like Shelian. Directed at someone who would never abuse it. The trust between them goes both ways. Everyone praises Hua Cheng in this relationship, but they forget Shelian. Because if Shelian wasn't the way he is, the relationship would become abusive at the snap of a finger. Unconditional love, be it romantic or familial, is fundamentally flawed. In a healthy relationship, there are always conditions. For the other person not to hurt you, for them not to use and abuse you, and so on. These are all conditions. Good, healthy conditions. Without them, we are left in Ocha's situation. Everyone wants a partner like Hua Cheng, but are they ready to be like Shelian? We should always wear our true faces and never allow ourselves to feel trapped with no way of escaping. Then, maybe, we will learn to love ourselves. Thank you for sticking around till the end. And thank you for over 200 subscribers. You are amazing. When I made the first video, I thought it would get a few views at most. I would love to keep making these videos. I'm a broke university student who realized she wants nothing to do with what she's studying and now doesn't know how to move forward. So if you want to support me, please like and subscribe. I have a lot more rambling to do. And stay tuned because the next video will be epic.